In this video, we will be building on the previous lesson of how to paint the model and start to introduce color. Remember, when we paint, our goal is to find shapes of at least 3 to 4 different values on the form that connect and render a likeness. In total, there are 10 different values that create a gradual, realistic transition, but we only need to make a painting with 3 to 4. This is my palette setup. I'm using an enamel tray, which is reusable, along with press and seal saran wrap to cover the tray when I'm done to save my paint. You can also use a paper palette instead. For this demo, we will be using acrylics. You will only need black, white, and raw umber. Before we begin, start by mixing 4 values with just black and white on your palette. Try to achieve a broad range of dark, mid-tone, and light. Next, begin to remix each value exactly and include raw umber. Pay attention to the softness of the edge between the grayscale value and the color value. If the edges are harder, that means the two values are too different, and you'll have to adjust until the edges are very soft. Make sure you are thoroughly mixing your paint, or else your eye will be distracted by the unmixed colors. When you are ready, blacken the model with a gesture drawing in the first 1 to 2 minutes with only black paint. This will serve as the foundation for what's to come. Once the drawing is complete, Look back at the model and start to pay attention to how it's being lit. The easiest way to do this is to look for the shadows. Starting with the darkest shadow, lock in those shapes with one of your darkest raw umber values. Try to find ways to connect those shapes from head to toe and left to right. Repeat this approach with another of the pre-mixed raw umber values from your palette. Try to achieve 4 values in total. Resist the urge to blend by sticking to shapes with definite edges. You may need to get more opaque or thick with the paint in order to cover up the white of the paper showing through. At some point, like right now in this example, if black or near black is the color of your shadows, try to add pure raw umber into those areas. By adding color, it creates a richness and depth to the shadow. When strategically placed throughout the piece, it helps to sculpturally render the form. Don't forget to also work the background at the same time. This will help you better determine if the values on the model are working, while also tying the figure to an environment. There are many shapes in the background that are important to how we see the figure by itself. Because they are a shape, they direct the eye throughout the piece and help elements come forward or recede. Continue refining the size and edges of your shapes. In all, this is a minimal approach to using color because the color of a piece is subjective for the most part. This exercise is meant to get you to think about how the eye makes you understand what is warm and cool, because there are actually color temperature ranges on the body that you need to be aware of before we begin to work with a full palette. Remember, basic value shapes sculpt the figure first, then we see color. In a moment, you will see the addition of pure raw umber into the shadows to help with correcting the contrast and strengthening the overall depth and richness to the neutral palette.